This is my all-time favourite book that I wanted to share with you. It's called Socrates. Socrates was an orphan. His parents had been snatched up by the dog catcher and taken to the pound, leaving Socrates to live all alone on the streets. He dreamed of a home other than his cardboard box, and more than anything else, Socrates dreamed of having a friend. He looked to the other street dogs for company, but they just snarled and growled. They wouldn't share their scraps, and Socrates was left to rummage through garbage cans on his own. It seemed to Socrates that he was always alone. Every night he wandered the streets, wagging his tail at passers-by, hoping that one of them would take him home. But the people just looked the other way. Poor thing, some of them would say, but they always kept their eyes on the ground. I wonder why they always kept their eyes on the ground. Then one day, as Socrates was scouring the street for something to eat, he found the most curious thing. Sniff, sniff. Socrates examined this new thing. Sniff, sniff. It certainly wasn't something to eat. Sniff, sniff. Socrates discovered the thing fit his nose perfectly. Perhaps this will help, Socrates thought, and then he went on his way. I wonder how it might help him. Socrates stepped inside the flower shop. For the first time, no one chased him away. The florist took a look at him and laughed a friendly laugh. Then he gave Socrates a quick pat on the head. Socrates thought that the flowers looked brighter than they ever had before. I wonder why they looked brighter than they had before. Next, Socrates went to the toy shop. The shop owner smiled and said, "Here you go, boy." Then he handed Socrates a bit of his sandwich. The toys seemed to be smiling too. Socrates could hardly believe his eyes. All day Socrates roamed the streets. Everywhere he went there were smiles, pats on the head and treats. Extraordinary, thought Socrates as he looked at his reflection. This thing on my nose must be magical. I wonder if you have any ideas, boys and girls, why things seem to be happier for Socrates now he had his glasses on. As the day ended, Socrates heard music, and when he turned the corner, he found the music maker. The musician looked at Socrates. "Hey there, friend," he said, giving Socrates a pat. Then the musician squinted at Socrates and said, "I see you found my glasses, and a good thing too. I can't see a thing without them. If you hadn't come along, I'd never have been able to find my way home." The musician laughed and stretched his hand out towards Socrates. And you can see Socrates looking there. Socrates pulled back. "What?" he thought. "Give back this magical thing? The thing that has helped me find food? The thing that had made him so many friends?" Then Socrates looked at the musician. He imagined him wandering blindly through the streets looking for his home. He imagined him hungry. Slowly, Socrates stepped forward. What would you do in that situation? He knows that when he gives the glasses back, it'll go back to how it was before and people would ignore him. But if he doesn't give him back, the man's not going to find his way home and he'll be lost forever. What would you do? What will Socrates do? The musician took the glasses. Then he gave Socrates a strong pat. "Thanks, fella," he said. "A good friend like you deserves a special treat. Let's go home and cook up some dinner." And then Socrates knew that he had indeed found something magical after all, a friend. So that's the end of the book. So I have 2 questions that I want you to think about. The first one is the name of the book, Socrates. Now, who was Socrates, and why do you think this book was named Socrates? And my second question relates to a term called rose-coloured glasses, which these are. What does the term looking through rose-coloured glasses mean, and how does that relate to what's happening in the book? Let's see what different people come up with to those questions. You might want to talk to Mum and Dad about it as well.